Hello, everyone, and welcome to As Seen on TV, the Vampire Diaries podcast, Season 5. Wow, we're up to Season 5 already. Episode 1, I Know What You Did Last Summer. I'm your host, Dom, and with me is my co-host, Omikins. How's it going, Umi?
Good.
So, how you liking the Vampire Diaries so far?
Um, it seems like there's not enough going on, but then again, I didn't like last season that much, so I didn't like Elena being all no emotion and stuff, but
Yeah, that was the hardest part with last season was Elena, watching
mhm.
Elena. So, what do you think about Elena so far this season? Is she better? Can you tolerate her a little bit more?
Yes and no. She seems a little too giddy all the time, and then at the same time, she's a little bit more involved with um, regular life.
Yeah, she's a
And
little more grounded this time around,
yeah,
definitely. Um, and I don't know, Caroline was one of those characters because they're roommates now in college.
hmm
But Caroline was one of those characters I couldn't stand at first, and I actually hated her in season 1. And somewhere by the end of the season, maybe even it was season 2, I realized I don't mind Caroline anymore, and I was like, where did this change come from? But I don't know. I like the Elena Caroline chemistry that they have going right now because they kind of balance each other out. Elena is the one that's more grounded. She's more reserved. Caroline is the one that kind of wants to take some crazy risks and chances. Like their roommate, they want to compel, or Caroline wants to compel the roommate out of the dorm. Elena was like, I thought of that, but I want to have the real college experience and all that. So I don't know. What do you think of that? Do you like their dynamic?
they work well together. And yeah, Caroline has grown a lot since the first season. She's actually a more lovable character. She still gets pretty dramatic at times and
Cries a lot.
cries a lot, but I mean, for good reasons. I mean, I think the last time I saw her cry before, Tyler left that message for her was when her dad died.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
only she only cries for good reasons.
Yeah. So they got their roommate. The roommate came in. It was this girl Megan. The girl's kind of Caroline especially thinks she knows about vampires or she's some kind of vampire hunter or something along those lines. She's got a bottle of water. It's got vervain in it and all this kind of stuff. So we learn that much later in the episode that there's some kind of connection between Elena's father and Megan and Elena, obviously. But do you think Megan as a roommate was a complete coincidence, or do you think somebody set this up?
um, I don't think Megan knew, but the school that they're going to seems pretty shifty. So I think they had a hand in it. So it was planned, but Megan had no idea.
So do you think Megan had any idea about vampires or any supernatural entities in general?
I think so.
You think so?
I think she did, yeah. I don't know how she would, but obviously if she's carrying a bottle with vervain in it, she has some sort of idea of what's going on. Maybe she came to that school knowing that
But
there was something wrong.
it was a bottle of vitamin water. So wasn't this like it looked like a sealed bottle to me? So I don't even know if that's something she tampered with or if it was in a thermos or something. I could understand that, but this looked like it was in a clear plastic bottle, and Caroline specifically stated vitamin water. So
Hmm.
I don't know if it was necessarily maybe one she's refilling constantly, but it just that wasn't very clear to me. So I don't know if that was manufactured with vervain in it or if she put it in herself.
Yeah, that wasn't clear.
Yeah. So we also, you mentioned Caroline was crying because Tyler called and said that he was not coming to school, so she was upset with that. Do you think she's gonna distance herself from Tyler this time around? This is now the second time that he's left her. kind of hanging and expecting. And there was the kid that invited them to the party that they went to later in the episode, Jesse.
Jesse.
He kind of has a thing for Caroline. Would you think they could possibly develop in some kind of showmance?
I think so. I think Caroline's going to come to the realization that Tyler is not exactly reliable, that he does things for himself. He's pretty selfish. He has always been like that from the very first season. So she's going to try other things. She's in a new experience. She's in college, so she's going to branch out. She's going to maybe try with Jesse. But Jesse seemed pretty interested the moment he walked up to her. And, Elena was there. Megan was there. So I think he kind of knows something behind the scenes.
So do you think Jesse knows of vampires and all that?
It's very possible. It was...
Good.
It was his party that he invited them to that happened to have that mishap with Megan.
Right. And Megan was the one that said, "Would you like to come in?" They just kind of stood there all awkwardly and said they were waiting for somebody. And then Caroline was like, "Oh, she's on to us." And she probably, if she didn't know about vampires, that's not something that you would really suspect. I don't know. It seemed very weird. But, yeah, that would be, if it's Jesse's party, he specifically didn't invite them in. So I could see that. Do you think Jesse himself may be the vampire that I didn't look to see if he had any jewelry or anything like that on? That's actually something I might have to go back and check out, but he might have had some kind of daylight ring, because we saw him in the daytime handing out the party invitations, so he could very well be the one that killed Megan. So I don't know, what do you think of that?
It is a possibility. I mean, if there's a daylight ring involved, anybody can be a vampire. I mean, they're walking in daylight. You're never gonna know, even if you know about vampires. I mean, how long did it take the whole town of Mystic Falls to actually realize that there were vampires around that could walk in the daylight?
Quite a while. Sheriff Forbes was completely flabbergasted when she found that out.
Yep.
So with Tyler being gone, it almost seems like he's avoiding Caroline entirely. He said that he needed time. He was working with another pack. So do you think the pack could possibly play a role somewhere in this season? Like, maybe something to do with Silas or something?
I don't know how Silas ties with the pack. They may bring some of the characters in, but I mean, a pack is like, what, 5 or more, and then they add Tyler into that, so that's a lot of characters to just throw in there. So few, but I don't think the whole pack will show their face.
I don't know, we might see it. It might have something to do with Silas's he's an immortal, but there's always a way around it. Like, the cure was the big thing last season, and so there was a way around it. She manufactured a cure. You mean to tell me she can't do it again? Who knows? And maybe Silas himself, something could happen with a werewolf bite or something. We don't know. We don't know for sure.
No.
But, and you had actually also mentioned to me that if there was a pack involved, it might be a good way to cross over to the originals
yes.
series. So, how do you think they would actually go about doing that? Like, to help Haley, or you think Tyler would go after Haley again? And
I don't think Tyler will cross over, but maybe the pack would. Once they deal with the vampire threat like Marcel and they dwindle that down, then it'll give wolves a chance to step back into the French Quarter of New Orleans and maybe take some of the things back that they lost so long ago from Marcel.
Yeah, totally see that. So our favorite vampire, not really, Stefan, he's kind of locked in a safe at the bottom of Mystic Falls. He keeps having these dreams, conversations with Damon, Elena, Delena. Damon and Elena. So why do you think he's having these dreams?
Those are the two people that mean the most to him. And they're very different personalities. I mean, his brother is arrogant, he's reckless, and Elena is his love. The person that he, I think, described as his soulmate in one of the seasons. So, to pick those two to have hallucinations about, it makes sense because it's the different sides of the spectrum.
Right. You have Damon telling him to turn his emotions off, Elena pleading to keep them on. So yeah, I could totally see that parallel there. But Elena kind of feels like there's something wrong there, with just Stefan in general, and she wants to call him and things like that, but she doesn't. So do you think her and Stefan's dreams might somehow be connected?
I think they were connected from the very first time they met. Being that they're both vampires now, they share connection. Probably because both Damon and Stefan were turned by the same vampire, so they're same bloodline. And then Elena was turned by Damon. So they kind of share a connection that way. Kind of the same way that, your uncle, you share the same blood as your uncle that was your father's brother kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
Speaking of bloodline, something that just kind of triggered in the originals, which we just saw. We'll be doing a show on this later, but the second episode for the originals, we have them trying to find a way to kill an original, right? So the White Oak stakes have all been destroyed or disposed of. Klaus got a hold of all those and destroyed them. If they do find a way to kill an original on that show, do you think that's something that we're going to see bleed over into the Vampire Diaries? See the entire bloodline disappear?
That was something they came forward with before. That destroying a vampire that was part of, started the bloodline would destroy it. So, I mean, it could bleed over, definitely. I mean, they feel like they're all connected anyways. So if that's a possibility, if it chains and kills all basically the sires or the main vampires from one vampire, like an original, then yeah. I lost my train of thought. Sorry.
I really don't see them killing off Klaus, Elijah, or Rebecca, which are, I think, the only three surviving originals we have left.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I could see if they had to kill one off, it probably would be Elijah, but I probably don't see that anytime soon. So, Silas, being Stefan's doppelganger here, he's not doing a very good job of pretending to be Stefan. He just walked right into town and outed himself. Why do you think he did this so quickly?
I guess it really didn't matter when he did it. He's immortal. He can't die. So if he screws up once, he's just going to go back to the drawing board and do it again later. Basically, he has nothing to lose.
Yeah.
And he can appear as different people anyway, so he doesn't have to appear as Stefan all the time. He can change to Sheriff Forbes if he wants, or whatever.
And he also proved at the end of the episode that he has the power to manipulate multiple people, not just one anymore. He's been practicing for the course of this past 3 or 4 months that we've not seen him seen him on camera.
Yeah.
But so who else do we have? We have Katherine. She just kind of shows up at Salvatore Mansion. She's begging Damon for some help. Damon bites into his wrist and offers her his blood right off the bat.
Yeah.
She was very apprehensive and was like, I can't do that. I took the cure, and I don't know if it's ever going to be able to allow me to become a vampire again. So, do you think Damon knew this going into? Do you think that's why he was so quick to offer his blood?
I think he had definitely thought about that, and he's the type of person who is like, just do it, and we'll find out later. So he wanted to take that step and find out, but like you said, Katherine was apprehensive. She did not want to try it just in case.
Right. What do you think personally? Do you think the cure caused her to never be a vampire again, or do you think it cured that one incident?
Well, the cure is a type of magic. I'm not sure if it's a lasting or just it just happens at that point in time, but I think once it's in you, it's not going anywhere. So if she dies, she dies, even if she has vampire blood.
See, I think it's the other way. I think she's at some point. I think she's gonna have vampire blood in her system, and she's gonna die, and everybody's gonna think she doesn't wake up, and all this stuff, and then she's gonna come back. I think it's like just having the vampire blood itself in your system. Once it passes through your system, it's out. So
Okay.
it's not like you could drink vampire blood and then go die 4 days later and you're fine. Once the blood passes through your system, you don't turn into a vampire again. So I kind of think the cure works the same way, but I don't know. We
We'll
shall
see.
see. Yep. So what do you think Silas wants with Katherine in general? He's hell-bent on finding her.
I think because she took the cure, she's the cure to making more. Or she's some sort of key to some other type of magic that he needs to do more than a group of people, but maybe do a whole town, or maybe a city or something. Yeah.
I could see, like, all right, so we had Elena being the source of the doppelganger blood that did Klaus's whole thing. What if now we find out that, like you just said, Katherine is the cure? What if she can turn anybody that bites her in back human, killable, whatever? What if she is now a walking cure?
That would be interesting. Even if she were, I don't think she would play it through, and that would be a good reason for Silas to want her back, because he probably, even though he says he doesn't like vampires, he probably likes the dynamic that they exist.
Yeah, he hates vampire. He made that very clear this episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, we didn't really get too much extra closure with Klaus or Elijah, but we did see Rebecca, and her and Matt, they went off traveling the world over the past 3-4 months for the summer, and upon coming back to Mystic Falls, Matt goes right back to doing his job, basically, pouring drinks for the party, things like that. Why do you think Matt chose to stay in Mystic Falls as opposed to go to New Orleans with Rebecca?
I don't see him as that kind of person who would go to New Orleans and get involved in all that kind of stuff. And I think he knew that if he was going there, that Rebecca's brothers would be involved in some way, and him and Klaus don't really get along at all. I mean, I think at one point Klaus was going to kill him, and was it Rebecca or Elena stopped? It was Caroline who stopped him.
Yes.
So, I think given the chance, because Matt's with his sister now, and Matt was with Caroline at one point, that Klaus would just off him.
Yeah. See, Matt kind of gave it off as an excuse that he needs a paycheck. Rebecca, he's back in the real world, and then he had mentioned that the ring, Jeremy's Gilbert ring, and Rebecca's earrings and stuff like that were stolen back in Prague. And later in the episode, the girl, Nadia, she appears. She gives the ring back to Matt, and Matt looks like he's some form of mind control, something. He passed out, and the spell that's put on him, and the male witch, his name is rumored to be Gregor. He wasn't named in the episode, but we're not 100% sure on that. What do you think they could possibly want with Matt?
I think because he has the Gilbert ring, they think he's something a little bit more special, or he has connections um, to get something for them that they want. Even though he's nobody really special, he just has that Gilbert ring because Jeremy gave it to him after. Well, it was given to him after Jeremy died.
Right. So, what do you think about Nadia? Do you think she's some kind of supernatural being, a witch, vampire? Do you think she's just human and Gregor is the one kind of following her around?
She's a con artist. That's the
So,
only way I can. I mean,
so she's human.
yeah, she's human. She could be a witch, you know, she could be a lot of things, but I think because she stole the ring and the earrings, she's a con artist, she's a thief, and she's just doing this to get more dollars in her pocket.
Yeah, I definitely see that. So we have Jeremy, who, after being resurrected and everything, we see he still has a little bit of his supernatural abilities. He gets into a fight at school. So he's got his speed, he's got his strength still. Um, and then he encounters Silas, and Silas touches him on the shoulder. And Jeremy said the tattoo felt like he felt a trigger. And we know the tattoo is still, though not visible, it's still active in some form. So do you think that Jeremy coming back is still a member of the five, the group of hunters, or do you think when he died, he was replaced?
That's tough to say because I mean, I want to make a reference to Buffy the Vampire Slayer. When Buffy died, a new Slayer had was basically took her place. So we had Faith in her place. So I mean, it's probably the same thing. Jeremy died, so another one took his place, but then Jeremy came back, so it probably threw things off. And the way the mark was truly activated before was when he killed a vampire for the first time, and he hasn't done that yet. So we'll see if he gets back into that rage mode and wants to kill all the vampires, or or if it's just something that is lingering from when he was alive, and it's still kind of just there.
So if he replaced, or if he was replaced, right, and he comes back and he's still technically a hunter, that now makes it 6 people. If he was to
Yeah.
die again, is another hunter going to be born? Another potential going to change over? Is this number now concrete at 6, or did he completely throw this off?
I think he threw it off. I mean, the whole thing that they've talked about, like the introductions of vampires and werewolves, that's a glitch in Mother Nature. That it's kind of a loop. It's a really funky loop. So I think this happening to Jeremy is that same kind of loop. That there's that glitch, and he just happened to be it.
So,
That
go ahead.
oh no, go ahead.
Well, we saw Jeremy and I forget the other guy's name from last season. We saw 2 of the 5. So, do you think we're gonna see any more of the 5 hunters this season? Possibly, maybe.
Possibly. I mean, they're out there. So, and they know where the vampires are. They can sense that. So, it might take them time to get there, but I mean, they knew as soon as one of the other hunters was there that that's where the congregation of vampires were that they needed to kill.
See, now we have Ketsia. She's the one trying to kill Klaus. She wants to be reunited, or not Klaus, Silas, and she wants to be reunited with him. So Ketsia was the one that initiated the 5 in the first place, right? She created them to hunt him down and kill him. Do you really think Ketsia didn't have a plan B, and she put all her marbles into one basket here, all her eggs into one basket, and put this one cure out there? Like, the 5, their whole reason for being is to hunt and kill Silas. So I don't think that they would be able to exist without having a plan B.
There's got to be a plan B. I mean, she was a witch. She's crafty.
So The fact that Jeremy even mentioned that their whole reason for being was to kill Silas kind of alludes to me anyway that we will be seeing more of the hunters show up, and
Hmm.
there is another way to kill Silas, but that's just me. Um, so we have Jeremy now, and he's kind of being Bonnie's spokesperson. Bonnie, she died last season. She's a witch. She's caught in the afterworld, but since Jeremy was dead and alive, and now he's dead and alive again, this is the second time now Jeremy has died and come back. Um, he has a connection to the other realm, and he can talk to the ghosts. So he is, for all intents and purposes, speaking for Bonnie. He's sending the emails out for Bonnie, sending postcards to Bonnie's dad. Um, how long do you think they could keep the charade up?
Um, Now that Bonnie's dad is gone, they could keep the charade up as long as they want.
They could, but you could already tell Jeremy was itching to say something. As soon as Bonnie pointed out that was Silas, he covered it up, said it was his tattoo. We don't know for sure if he felt something in his tattoo. He very well could have been lying to us, because Bonnie was the one that said, that's Silas. So,
That's true.
so we see Bonnie telling him that. So Jeremy's struggling. He's lying for her. Yeah, her father gets killed, so she doesn't have that anymore. But she's watching her friends go off to college. She's standing there with them, but they don't know she's there. So she's having an internal struggle. You could see Jeremy struggling. I don't know how long they can keep this up. I really don't. I think it's going to be necessary that Bonnie's going to have information that needs to come out, and Jeremy will not be able to cover it up with another lie.
That's very true. But I don't think anything could come up that would make it so that her voice needed to be heard. It would be Jeremy coming through and saying, okay, this is what's happening, and there's Bonnie. Hey, wave, she's over there.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I don't know. They got to know she's dead at some point. Like, they can't keep this up through the whole season. There's no way. This is gonna be something I think we're gonna find out before the mid-season finale. Mid-season, is that even a finale? What do you call that? Mid-season finale, I guess. I don't even know.
I don't know.
Yeah,
It wouldn't be a finale really, but I guess that's what they call it.
I guess. So, all right, we have Damon now. He's been playing babysitter this whole episode. Why do you think Damon's trying to take on so much responsibility for himself? He's watching Jeremy. Jeremy apparently can't watch himself even after dying and coming back twice. Obviously he's getting into some trouble, so Jeremy kind of needs to be watched. But Damon was very active in all the other seasons. He wanted to be part of everything. Now it's just like he wants to do it all himself. Why do you think the role reversal?
He wants to impress Elena. It's all about that. I can't see any other reason why he wouldn't want to jump in and get involved. Elena specifically said, please look after my brother, and he just wants to make sure he keeps to that word, because if he strays a little bit, Elena's going to screw off.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. Alright, so let me ask you this. Nina Dobrev, who plays Elena, and Ian Somerhalder, who plays Damon, they broke up before filming any of these episodes. Can you tell that they're no longer a couple? Like, was that apparent to you in these episodes, or did they play that off well?
I didn't catch it. To be honest, I didn't even know they were a couple in real life.
Yeah, they were dating through the last 2 seasons, I want to say. So, Damon, Ian, kind of, he's older. He's like 33, something like that, and Nina is in her early 20s, and there's significant gap between them, but he's looking for something a little more long term, and she's still young. So I could totally see how that dynamic wasn't really working too well. She wants to weigh her options out. She's still young. She doesn't want
Yeah.
to commit to anything. You can't wrong her for that. And Damon, he was looking for something more stable. I could totally see that. So I understand why it doesn't work. Nina's actually, she's off dating somebody else. I forget who it is. I think it's somebody from like Dancing with the Stars or something. I don't even know. But yeah.
Bill Nye? Ugh.
No. I think it's from like a previous season or something. I don't even know. To be completely honest, I don't really follow this, but I did know that the two of them were dating, and the thing that surprised me is the passion that you still saw between them, and I was kind of wondering what that would feel like, having to work with an ex-girlfriend on a show when you're in another relationship already. Like Damon's not, but she is. She's got to be professional about it. How do you think her new boyfriend feels about her being passionate with her ex-boyfriend while filming? Like, wouldn't you be afraid that something's gonna rekindle there?
Well, a lot of actors and actresses have actually experienced this. I mean,
Dexter.
yeah,
A few people knew that Dexter and Deborah Morgan, the two characters, they were actually married for a year, and they separated and they stayed acting, but they weren't physically active on that show. So
hmm
this one, it seems a little different to me, because I haven't seen any other shows where couples are back together on the show as a couple, an actual physical couple, after breaking up in real life.
I'm sure it's happened a lot of times. But people are professional. It's their job. They get paid for it. They do what they're told. They follow the script the way they're supposed to. If you have to get nasty with your ex-boyfriend while your actual boyfriend is watching off scene, then that's just, you have to do it.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think I'd ever be able to deal with something like that.
I don't think I'd be able to either. Um, but I'm definitely not in that line of work, so.
Right. So hopefully we see a little more out of Damon this season than him playing babysitter the whole time. I want to see Damon go back to his roots, back to season 1 Damon. I would love to see that.
Oh,
And
yes.
I think the perfect catalyst for that would be to break Damon and Elena up. Damon has not been the same since then. Their real life breakup would make sense for them to break up on the show from that point of view, so it's not causing a whole lot of trouble. And I could see Damon being completely crushed. And if that's the case, he's not going to pull a Stefan and feel sorry for himself.
Oh,
And
no.
he's going to shut his emotions off, and he's going to be evil Damon again. So I'm waiting for it. And I'm hoping that's going to be early this season.
As soon as Stefan comes out of that safe at the bottom of the falls, Elena is going to go to Stefan because she's going to feel sorry for him. She's going to feel bad that he was in there for so long, that she didn't trust herself, that she pushed him away. She's going to end up going back to Stefan, and Damon's going to get left in the dust, and that's going to really, really piss him off.
Hopefully. I would love to see that. All right, so final thoughts. What did you think of the episode as a whole? We kind of covered this a little bit, but now that we've reviewed everything, anything, did it seem to have a little more potential now that we talked over it? Because for one, I thought this was a kind of a little lackluster opening for a season. We've had plenty other premieres, and it seemed like they were much more exciting. Like the ending, everything always wants you more, and that's including in the episodes themselves. But the end of the season's like season 1 was the biggest one. We find out Katherine's back, and it just ends with, "Hello, John. Goodbye, John," and cuts his fingers off. Like, holy shit, what? So now we have this one where Stefan's locked and he's floating in the bottom of the sea. It comes back, and you're kind of expecting a little more, and it just, like Stefan, it just kind of sunk to the bottom of the ocean. It stayed there. I don't
Good
know.
idea. Drowned.
Yeah. I don't know. It was a
Um.
good episode, I thought, but it had a lot of potential that it didn't live up to, in my opinion.
Yeah. For premiere, it just didn't. It didn't build up to where it should have been as an episode as a whole. Like maybe it would have been good for a second episode,
Yeah. I could see
but
it being one of their filler episodes. Yeah,
yeah,
I
one of their
completely agree
fillers.
with you. Yeah.
Um, it just didn't have all the action that we're used to. So, um, I definitely was expecting more from the premiere, but can't help that.
Yeah. I'm kind of even wondering if that had a little bit to do with the fact that the original is now on air, and Julie Plec, the writer, and she's involved with both now, and I wonder if a little of that is bleeding into it. I think what may have been better for them would have been to stagger the originals and had that start when Vampire Diaries was ending, like be opposite season, like
Yeah,
fall and
she's yeah.
you know summer seasons and like spring fall rather, you know.
Yeah, her writing seems to be a little. It would seem like it would be a little bit spread out. Like she's working on two projects pretty much at the same time, and they're in the same universe, so it's easy to get a little mixed up and make one a little bit better than the other. But there would be a balance issue as far as interesting things to happen in either series if you're writing them at the same time.
Yeah. So I think that about covers it for that episode. Next week we have episode True Lies. Um it was a movie by the same title exists, and it featured Arnold Schwarzenegger. It was made back in 1994, and in the movie, Arnold's character leads a double life. So, if they're going with that theme, because I don't see any other reason why they would name something so specific, um, which one of the Vampire Diaries characters do you think could be leading a double life?
Well, I mean, the obvious one is Silas because he's trying to pretend to be Stefan right now. So
Is he? He
he,
just said, "I'm not Stefan. I'm
yeah,
Silas. Go
yeah,
find Katherine."
but that's to like a certain group of people. Whereas like there were people that weren't at that gathering that night, and they still see him as Stefan. And the group that did realize that he wasn't Stefan, or maybe they don't even that he manipulated anyways, that he compelled massively. He probably told them what to think, so they probably don't even remember.
This is true.
So Silas is the obvious one because he really is two people at once.
See, I think there's something a little more obvious. And I'm going to go right now and I'm calling this. All right?
Okay.
So here we go.
All right.
This is another show now. I'm calling this. The title, you're going to smack yourself now for not thinking of this. Elena's Dad. It's going to be a very flashback-centric episode, because Elena's father was leading a double life, and that had everything to do with why Megan had a photo of Elena's father and her in her cell phone.
So who was Megan to Elena's father?
His other daughter?
His other daughter? Or wasn't Elena's father some sort of teacher or professor?
I don't know what her father did, actually.
Because if that's the case, then maybe she was a student and he was, stuff.
Possibly. I don't know. But, it may, because they're about the same age. So,
This is true.
I could totally see that being another one of his daughters. That's what I think it is. So we're just gonna have to wait and see. Hopefully we find out. I mean, if that's what the episode is based off, True Lies, and if that's what it is, it's about a double life being led. We should be finding out next episode. So.
Oh, yeah, of course. She will find out more about her dad. There's no doubt about that. But I mean, from from the previews of the episode, it just seemed it was like Elena was more focused on Stefan than finding out about her dad. But I know it's probably going to be one of those things that's kind of on the back burner that's she's figuring out at the same time.
Yeah. So you think it's in reference to Silas?
I said that's the obvious thing. I didn't say that's what I think because I honestly don't know.
Okay. So tune in next week to find out who is right. And
not adding another tally. No. I refuse.
No, it will be added. So you can find us on www.youtube.com/ASOTV podcast for more podcasts for some of your favorite shows. Until then, this is Dom. And actually, Umi, do you have Twitter? People can follow you.
I have a Twitter at ladyvenom.com. Or at ladyvenom, sorry. Tired. LADYVENOM 24.
All right. So now you guys can catch us next week, and I'm tired. So we'll see you later.
Bye.